update on your cell phones, laptops, PCs, tablets, anytime and anywhere. You can get a hot breaking news in the night and in the chilly morning hours, like whatever it is. But not with the traditional thing. For traditional, you should be glued to TV, or you should read a paper, or you should carry the radio or wherever you go, which is not with the online. If a phone is there in your hand, you can get all the news. So the next is, it really is updated every minute. It is real time. Online thing is every time, minute to minute. The now ongoing is a Russian war. We get how many people are killed, how many Indians are stranded there, how many have come here. So all minute to minute news updates will have in an online thing, which is not there in this traditional. Okay. So next is a single syndicated resources. Accessing on a web news gives you a chance to access numerous papers from a single and a common source. And this is usually where an online news update perfect. You may have the chance of reading breaking news every single minute in real time from worldwide sources. So reading news online these days is something you will not want to miss. This is the only place you can get all the information you need in a syndicated source for your convenience. Next comes is a cross-reference news items from a related resource links. This means that you could get more informed in terms of news up simply by looking into related links to obtain additional information. Example, in online, what will happen in the online, see, I'll just read a stickite sentences. Yeah, Russian war, that much only. If I'm really interested, I'll click on that link and I'll go through what is really happening in detail things, which is not happening in the traditional, but system or that is scoring over is there in the online thing. So if we want a detailed information on that subject, we can click on it and read through. Okay. So next is, this is all about the online reading. Next comes is the web-based newspaper. See, all like your Hindu or a Times of India, or the what do you call Telugu dailies. If you see Andhra Bhumi, Namaste Telangana, all those are actually a physical newspapers, but also are there in the web thing. So what is the difference between a physical paper and a web thing is, Internet newspapers edition is just an electronic form of the hard copy of the newspaper. It's just an electronic form in terms of the present nature of information sharing on internet. This form is regarded as a delayed and static news service. I think you all know what a static is. Static is like it won't move. It is just stationed like that. So the readership of the newspaper should mainly focus on their authenticity, linguistics, editorial strengths, and abilities, which enhance the loyal subscriber base over the time. Okay, so e-newspaper is the most dynamic, fastest, and the most trusted form of news sharing through the world. This is a future of newspaper as printed form of newspaper vanishes and more people look for internet. E-newspaper is gaining access to all other forms of news sources due to its dynamic nature, authenticity, as well as a timely delivery of news. The ability to use audio-visual mode of communication has resulted in the increased usage of this media. See, if you see the physical newspaper, we only see the photo clips and read the news. But the moving picture and the glaring and eye-catching things will only happen in a web thing. So that way, the web thing is scoring more over physical newspaper. But how we get the old times have gone when people used to wait days to get the papers or watch TV or read the news. The introduction of internet has led to introduction of latest breaking news websites that offer a variety of information to the users with no issue. Additionally, there are numerous benefits of the online readers over offline readers. What are those benefits? What are the benefits online readers have when compared to offline readers is, it's just a click of button. If we click on the in your laptop, you get the news. So it's just a click away and covers all categories of news. And mobile suitability is there. Even if they are not before your system, you can in a cell you can access the news. And saving cash. This this we can also save cash by not subscribing a physical paper, which comes with the cost, right? Okay, that can be avoided. And what are the advantages of reading news from on the web sources? The advantages are many folks and many people around the world are getting city breaking news from online resources and provide the convenience with which one access the internet or cell phones or even sign up to new notification. It isn't so surprising that lots of people are taking to the web to get breaking news online. It's true that individuals can use their mobile phones and internet connected notebooks to gain access to online news and conduct, study, or do freelance careers. Even more, individuals are getting swept up in the breaking news phenomena as well as accessing the internet for regional, international news and lot more than ever. So these are the advantages of having. What are the advantages of reading news from on the web page? Like we get instant news, we get latest updates. So this is the basic advantage of online web page, online news when compared to offline. Next is, what is the content planning for online users? See, in offline, what do we do in a traditional newspaper? A reporter go take the info from the market and he'll post it to the editor or a sub-editor. Again, he will approve, he will proofread it, and the editor will vet, and then it comes in the physical form of a news, which will take a hell good time. So here the role of each individual is very limited, but in offline. But if you come to the online reporter should gear up with all the information. He should be well equipped. He should have knowledge of all the things, editing, proofreading, and getting news, because he himself is the person who posts the info. So in today's fast-paced generation, new media is the king. Google has answers to all your questions. Facebook connections as to the world. Zoom enables virtual meetings, and the list is endless. Hence, online platforms are truly a boon. It's really manaka varam laga naturally. In this COVID times, it is truly, we should say, because we are not going out and facing each other, and we have just sitting at homes and getting all the info in a click of button. So that's why it is a boon. Zoom meetings are also there. See, even in the corporate world also, when they have to exchange some views or they have to conduct some meetings, they're using these Zoom links. And Google, if you have any question, if you just Google it, you'll get the reply. So that way the content planning for online newspaper users, so this Google and all stuff, they are like kings now. Main of whoever produce the items to them are really supporting these kings to move on. Okay, all of us are used to getting prompt news and info at a click of button. However, the downside to this is a new media has a potential to rapidly exhaust the individual's attention resources. According to study, an average online users tend to spend only 2 seconds on any piece of content or any online platform. Hence, it's even more challenging for advertisers, marketers, influencers to retain the audience attention. This is where a little lurch is there with the online, where like even because the people who see news rapidly, they just go through us that heading and just move on to the next item. The advertisements and all stuff, these people are like, we don't see the advertisement, we don't feel like doing, we move on to the next item. But if you see the newspaper, you should see, because it's just before your eyes. So that way the advertisings and all other things influencing marketing has happening less in online when compared to offline. So that's the first step to getting a leg up on the competition and actively engaging your audience is to have a solid, smart content planning in place. So if you want to catch the eye of the audience in online with all these marketing pieces and your advertising, you should plan the content in such a way that either it should give a news, it should also convey the marketing content, it should also have the advertising in it in such a way that you have to plan. That's where your acumen or your mental stability or ability depends. So studying the demographics and the target audience is very important. Whenever you're posting an item, like if the target audience, keeping in mind the target audience, you should write your item. So the content in a way should be able to cater to the needs of the and desire of the online user. So using a variety of content types and channels will help deliver different contents to each type of audience you have in mind and engage everyone. And but by making the news item small and more effective, that doesn't mean that it should lose its originality. The original content should be also intact. So originality and out of the box thinking is extremely crucial to come up with the impactful content. This is also, if to keep in mind. So original thing should also be kept in mind and drafted in such a way that it should not lose the originality. In the similar lines, it should not reach the effect in a smaller sense. In small and stickoid sentences, words, it should reach the target audience. That should be the persons, and whoever is writing the content should have these things in mind and write. So these are a few important points that will help us make an attractive plan. What are those? Define your goal first. First, define your goal. What do you want? So what is your aim for developing a content marketing plan? Why do you want to produce content and create a content marketing plan? Know your goals before you begin plan, and you will have an easier time determining what's best for your strategy. Next is conduct persona research. So to do all this, to define your goal, you should aim. And for to conduct persona research, to develop a successful plan, you need to clearly define your content's target audience. You should have whom you are addressing. The target audience sense should be there in your brain always. So target audience, also known as your reader's persona. Revisiting your audience parameters by conducting market research each year is a crucial to growing your audience. Run a content audit is the third point. Figure out what you can do differently in the upcoming year and set new goals to reach. Most people start out with blog posts, but if you want to venture out and try producing other content pieces, consider which ones you want to make. But that on the whole, all these are like, you should have a clear picture of what you want to tell to the audience. For that, these points are important. Next is brainstorming content ideas, thinking out of the box, using catchy taglines. Millennial lingo is crucial. Hence, this is the last yet most important step. What will catch our eye? What will catch our ears is some catchy lines, as we all know. So that catchy line should also be kept in mind while drafting the content. Next is interactive storytelling. For these are all telling news in an online thing. Next comes is interactive storytelling for online. So interactive storytelling for online platform communication is one of the most loosely defined terms in contemporary media and cultural studies. It is like interaction, interchange, and transaction, dialogue sharing, communion, and commonness are ideas that crop up in any attempt to define the term communication. According to one of the author, he says communication is a process which increases commonality, but also requires element of commonality for it to occur at all. So storytelling describes the social cultural activities of sharing stories, sometimes with improvisation, theatric, or embellishments. Every culture has its own stories or narratives, which are shared as a means of entertainment, education, cultural preservation, or instilling moral values. So the term storytelling can refer to, in a narrow sense, especially to oral storytelling and also to looser sense technique used in other media to unfold or disclose the narrative of the story. In response to the fear caused by COVID-19 and improvisation made in technology, many individuals are shifting to online platform. As just before we discussed, see, online thing we are more focusing. Why? Because of this COVID thing. People are less moving out, and so they want to use all their techniques like Zoom, these are platforms to communicate with each other. So online is the importance of online is increasing day by day. Okay, which includes online platforms. For storytelling also, it is the prime media where we can exchange and interact with each other. Okay, today storytelling takes on the form of interactive media. We are not just exploring stories from history or science, we are also discovering each other's tales from students, journalists, cooks, photographs, and even entrepreneurs. We have become the new breed of digital storytellers. I may exchange my views on my things, my expertise to my colleagues, or they can do that way also. Storytelling is getting exchanged using this online platform. So what are the advantages of online interactive storytelling is stories are a way to build trust. Why a story is told? If I tell some story to you, so you should have some trust in it. So whether are using your digital storytelling skills as a way to build trust in students, clients, or as a way to entertain someone. So you should know you should do both. You should entertain them as well as you should also impart knowledge to them. Okay. It provides with you an opportunity to build trust. Individuals see it as an entertaining experience instead of a boring educational professional opportunity. So we are having online classes instead of offline classes. Mostly, I should say, I should be frank enough to tell this. When I was a student, I used to feel that like I would have had some online thing so that I can do a multitasking. I can listen, so also do other works. So that way, the online scores over the offline. But in offline class, you have to stick and listen. Whether you like or don't like, you have to stick to teacher and do all that. So that way, although if the teacher is good and is like you taking to the subject and also entertaining you with all other things, you are glued to it. Otherwise, it seems to be a boring thing. Okay, so clients see a good story in a way connect instead of having to push your products on them. It's a selfish way. So digital storytelling offers a chance to open a conversation with someone that can help you to communicate concerns, share insights, and eventually become a leader what you want. So this is the advantage of storytelling. Second advantage is it can be a way to improve your engine ranking. That is, Google has consistently placed value above any other attribute when deciding which website should rank the highest for any given search. When you design your content around the principles of digital storytelling, then you will naturally create the relevant keyword in your text without worrying about issues of density or format. You are creating something that your visitors will want to read because it is engaging and interesting. It can eventually help you build higher conversation rates into your site. For example, see, I want to know something on astrology. If I write Google my astrology, it gives me down list astrology for Leo, for horoscope for Leo, horoscope for Aries. Means it will lure me to read with the other things. That way it is keeping me engaged. That way it is creating interest in me. So that is the advantage of that. That means this. And the third is a good stories always have legs. As you know, if somebody tells a good story, then you want to read again and again that, when compared to the bad story. Next, digital storytelling helps you to evoke an emotional response from the listeners. What a digital story, emotional response from the listener. See, I tell a story wherein you are so much involved and glued to it that if the story is taking you in some sorrow state, somebody happen, the reader may happen to even weep. If he's weeping to my sorrow story, then I am successful in conveying the message to him. So that way, the digital storytelling helps you to evoke that emotional response from the reader. Next is it gives you a chance to go viral. If something is breaking, it goes viral. Like digital storytelling seeks to provide people with materials that are entertaining, useful, or both. It is a way to pass along knowledge and others will want to experience. When there is a great content that appeals to a group of people instead of one person, then more people will begin to talk about the stories that you tell. Naturally, if my story is interesting to you, you tell to someone, somebody will tell to it by word of mouth, it spreads. So in that way, it goes viral. Especially these stupid things are getting viral these days. Then a good things, that is different story again. You become a reliable source of information. In a storytelling, if your all these above things are catched well, then you will become a reliable source. When I tell something, it becomes a reliable source for others to take it as an example also. People at an age, including toddlers, want to learn from the people that they consider to be experts. That's why parents are always getting the why questions from their little ones. When you are a teacher, the salesperson, a coach, or in any other position of leadership, then being in a position of expertise makes you the know, I resource that others will use when they need to learn something new. Okay. Next is a digital storytelling attracts relevant listeners. Every businesses use digital storytelling as a way to reach out to their customers, clients, because it is the way to attract people that are interested in finalizing a transaction. Strong story requires dedication of energy, effort, time to create a final product that has value to the listener. Okay. Next is it allows you to involve other people. Storytelling allows you to involve the other people also. So the best digital stories that are told today are the ones which include everyone. If you can incorporate your students, clients, or employees in a tale that is being created, then your response levels will generally be more positive. That means I should involve the people. My target audience should be part of my story so that they are interested in listening and they are involved in it. Okay. So digital storytelling helps you to reach the correct audience. If I do that way, I'm reaching the correct audience also. Okay. Next, what we've thought on online reading we have known, and web reading we have known, and online storytelling is also done. Now comes is online audience analysis, how they analyze the news. See, audience analysis is the research of demographics, language, location, preferences, interests, and other metrics within a group. It is then analyzed to provide useful, actionable consumer insights for a brand in the form of a buyer persona. If I'm telling the story perfectly or conveying some message thoroughly to the audience, they will get attracted and buy my product or buy my news item or see my news item. So that should be that in that analysis only I should create the content thing. Okay. So for that, what are the things which are to be kept in mind are this is broken down into categories and subcategories depending on how in depth you want to get, how in depth you want to get to the audience pulse. For that, what you have to keep in mind while making the content is age, gender, race, social status, and marital status. Known and unknown audiences. Making the distinction between these can help you be more effective across the funnel and collect the right data to help you cut costs and improve targeting. Okay, then why audience analysis we should do? And what are the key points in audience analysis? Targeting or promote your product, reach out to your customers. These are the three why audience analysis are required. Attract new customers. Okay. So benefits of online audience analysis. What are the benefits of audience analysis is time saving, cost efficient, data complete. What is time saving? Audience analysis tools are are time savers. Audience analysis tools eliminate these lengthy steps like developing research plan, collecting data, analyzing data, and so on, and gives you direct access to actionable insights. No all this lengthy process which we do in all the other stuff. Direct to reach, like what I want to convey, I'm conveying you. So it is direct. Okay, cost efficient. And in addition to being time consuming, traditional market research can become very expensive. See, buying paper is cost you around 5-6 rupees, but in internet accessing news will not cost you so much. It will come in a lesser cost. Okay, next, complete data. In complete data, you can see because that will have some hypertext, which will help you see. First, you read just sentences, headings you read. If you're interested, you have to click on the hypertext, which will take to the inner meaning or full brief thorough story of that headline. So that way also, like it gives you more clarity when compared to physical newspaper. Next, confident decision making with audience analysis. See, the benefits of audience analysis are numerous. Audience analysis provide you with crucial data that will power confident decision making for your business. It is one of the fastest, most accurate methods for conducting market research. There are 3 free tools to help you understand your online audience. First is Google Analytics. Facebook Audience Manager, and in Facebook Audience Manager, again, there are three things. Everything on Facebook, people who like your page, or any custom list of emails or phone numbers that you upload. Next, the third comes is the Twitter Audience Insight. So Twitter, if you have a Twitter account, you can use Twitter Audience Insight tool or figure out the different interests, demographics, occupation, lifestyle, consumer behavior, and political affiliation. There are literally hundreds of dimensions, too many to list out. Okay. Next is Alexa Internet. Next is Internet. Okay. So these are about the audience, knowing interactions of audience and the benefits of why audience analysis are required. Then comes the new groups. What are new groups? New groups pose an interesting problem from a copyright perspective in that they contain elements of emails and web pages. Many people who post to new groups never give a second thought as to the ultimate fate of their message. On the other hand, some people are very sensitive about who sees and what happens to their messages. Some people they're very new and they want to see their things appearing in these news items or blogs and all bullshit also they may post, but they never think before posting and how it is received by the target audience. So that is also to be kept in mind. See, sometimes I may repeat the thing what somebody else has told. In such case, the copyright thing may also crop up. So that also to be kept in mind. So news groups generally come in either of two types, binary or text. There is no technical differences between the two, but the naming differentiates allows users and servers with limited facilities to minimize network bandwidth usage. Generally, Usenet conventions and rules are enacted with the primary intentions of minimizing the overall amount of network traffic and resource usage. These are news groups. So what is text and binary? You can go through the textbook. Next are moderate news groups. Moderate news group has one or more individuals who must approve articles before they are posted. So I just cannot post whatever comes to my mind. It should get approval from one or two individuals before it is posted. Okay. So as a separate address is used for the submission of post, and moderators then propagate posts which are approved for the readership. If that is acceptable, that they should read, the audience should take it in that perspective. That is vetted by some one or two individuals in BTV. After thorough vetting only, it is posted. Next, hierarchies. News groups are often arranged into hierarchies. Theoretical making is simpler to find related groups. The term top-level hierarchy refers to the hierarchy defined by the prefix before. Most commonly known as hierarchies are Usenet hierarchies. So, for instances, news groups, arts of Strovers, games should be in the record. Top-level Usenet hierarchy, where the address is defined as a wildcard character. There were several original major hierarchies of Usenet news groups known as Big Seven, discussion of computer-related topics, news, discussions of Usernet, so on and so forth. Okay. So what are some of the other news group hierarchies? Are discussions in there's all in some other countries, so we need not worry about it. This is all about our fourth chapter. So on a brief, our fourth chapter says it's a role of a news reader, role of a storytelling, role of a news groups. These three put together is your fourth chapter. Okay. If we go on to the fifth chapter, what is it? Fifth chapter is a social media and communities. So social media, as you all know, social media is a Facebook is a social media, and your Twitter is a social media, your YouTube channel is a social media. So LinkedIn is a social media. These are all examples for social media. And building online communities. So what is social media? Is a broad group of websites, internet-based applications that allow for the creation and sharing of content. So most definition of social media highlights two key elements: participation and community. What is participation? This is a multi-direction flow of communication. where users may produce as well as consume content. So I may post the content, I may even receive the content of others who has posted. So in two ways it is happening. I'm participating, giving and taking, right? Next is a community. So people gather in communities based on shared interest. So status or social importance is a key ingredient in any community. So what is the basis for forming the group is the common interest. So some people are interested in political news. Some people are interested in what is sport. So such will have a group formation, separate group formation. Okay. So we can achieve importance by cultivating a long list of friends or followers. In that way, if it is a sports group, all the people who are interested in the sports will be glued to that article, where I make a friendship with my next counterpart. Like, so such way the friendship, followers, content, I'm developing my community in that area. Okay, such a link to a story of funny videos, whatever it is. So when by common interest sharing में group form होता, वैसे we'll develop a community. So journalists don't just use social media as a tool of personal communication or a reading news shared by our friends, but we must actively take part in communities of shared interests. The social and community elements run deeply through network technology. The roots of current social media sites, like as I told, Facebook, can be tracked back to time before the invention of the web in the early 90s. Okay. So newspapers, IRCs, internet relay chat. Okay. Next is content communities, collaborative projects, friendship community sites, virtual worlds, web tools. So that's what common areas of interest will form a community. Next is citizen journalism. So when amateurs carry out roles normally associated with professional journalists, example, a reporter or a video journalist role, the concept of citizen journalism is highly contested. To say that members of the public without any formal training can assume the role of a journalist is highly controversial. In reality, many amateur producing content online don't purport to act as a journalist. A more accurate phrase is that professional amateur or amateurs with the media skills. So one who has a knowledge of posting the information only should do, and with a little knowledge are not supposed to, which will create criticism in the market. That's what they meant to say. How journalists use social media is a second thing. Social media is a great communication tool as it can allow our users to understand more about news production process, stories that we are working on, and can encourage user involvement. To achieve this, it requires a degree of personality, fun, authenticity in the way we communicate in social media, and which is very different to how we write as journalists. See, I can write, I can just scribble whatever comes to my mind, but if it is not attracting my audience, I'm not perfect in doing it. So my main motto is just to not scribble thing, but I should also keep in mind that how it is taken by the person who is reading my news item. That should be kept in mind. In that way, only the postings in the social media should happen. Okay. As a journalist, we have an authority and a level of trust in the public domain, which makes our use of social media potentially risk. Post in hate and repent at leisure is perhaps that's what post in haste and repent at leisure means. What does it, that what that mean is I just post off because I'm in hasty. I want to post it immediately. But if I do that, I should not communicate some wrong thing after posting. I should not repent that I have done in a hasty. That's what he meant. So thoroughly vetting, thorough knowledge, thorough thinking of the content is required before it's getting posted. Fun and authenticity. Okay. Next is the anything you post online can and might be publicly disseminated and can be twisted to be used against you by those who wish you are the times ill, whether it's next photographs or videos. This includes things you recommend on Times, people or articles you post to Facebook or a dig and content you share with friends on MySpace. So whenever you give, that's what again and again I'm telling, before you posting, please keep in mind how authentic the information is, and be clear in that, and see that it is not wrongly interpreted by the other person mistaking it. So social media needs to be embedded in the news production process at every stage, from researching stories to output. However, it is an important reporting tool. It shouldn't become a distraction. Traditional ways of getting information, principally getting out into the community and talking to real people face to face, remains as important as ever. So next comes is, how is social media related to journalism? Okay, so we all know that there's a lot of rubbish on social media. That's what we've discussed, and has a little news value. The first reason why we need to take an interest in social media is simply that it is where our users are. From the business perspective, we can't afford to ignore the fact that these sites are very popular with our users. See, Facebook, Twitter, these are very popular. Many celebrities you use, many middlemen use. So also even the smallest person to the elderly person are using these social medias as a barrier for exchanging of ideas, or for whatever, like. So social media is a major aggregator of a news content, particularly among the young. The 18 to 24 years old readership is traditionally one of the most difficult groups for newspapers to reach. These generation guys are not even touching the newspaper and going through, like when compared to 80 bonds and 90 bonds, 70 bonds. So that is the biggest challenge. So for them, the social media is the only way to reach, to get or the post the information to this category of people, this category of age group people. So social media as a horizontal media. How should we see social media as a horizontal media? We can view social media as being a form of horizontal media where information is shared from user to user as a part of global network without the need for traditional media. As we thought, like, we can be shared, like what all we are sharing, what all we are writing in the newspaper, same thing is posted here. So global thing, global information, so international news, everything is been taken care in the traditional, in your online thing. Okay, so when horizontal media communication is globally fragmented and dispersed, it lacks centrally that, so that there is not a central point where content is produced. This can make social media confusing environment. Yes, absolutely. See, when I go in social media, I browse things, and the number of things will come to my thing. So again I should surf, like which I again have to browse which one I want to see, and so this creates little bit question or confusion in the minds of the reader. That is the only thing. So social media challenges the role of a journalist and editors as information gatekeepers. Social media content often bypasses the traditional information gatekeepers, that the journalists who work in mainstream media, who at one point were the main controllers of the flow of information to the public. Social media can be viewed as being more democratic than traditional media, as any user can publish news and respond to what people have posted. Yes. See, these olden days, the journalists were like very keen. They were going out to the market, getting information, as we thought, just spoken just a time back, like where the people go out, get information, and they pass on to the sub editors, and all the vetting process goes on. It takes different modes, different levels, and the news item comes out, which is thoroughly, which is original thing will come out. There is no originality as such. There's only yellow journalism, which is practiced these days. We do know, but that the traditional journalism had some sense. They were like viewed as a professionals. They were the pillars. They were considered the fourth pillar. But what is now? Now the social media, the young boys, whatever 12, 13-year guy also can post something, some rubbish. That becomes more viral than the general news. That is the fate of a thing going on now. But okay, so social media can be viewed as being a more democratic and traditional media, as they use publish news, respond to what people have posted. Traditional newspapers operated in the manner where roles were clearly defined. Reader, the consumer of the content. Journalist, the producer of the content. So, journalist is producing the content, and the person who is reading the paper is a receiver. Okay, is a consumer. Editor, the selector of the content. What does the editor do? He will think whether this news item to be published or not. So, he is selecting the item. And arbitrator of quality control. With the social media, users switch between different roles at different times. It allows users to scrutinize the news publishing process. Next, social media is used as a second screen. It is also used as a second screen. Academics have become interested in the interplay between various media platforms. Social media is now being used as what's known as a second screen. People multitask watching live TV shows while simultaneously taking part in live debate about what's happening on a Twitter, using tablets, smartphones, all form of comfort for their armchair. So media theorists highlights how online interactions occur around a live television broadcast. Pre-baked, if we aren't all watching the TV or even in the same physical space, we would have waited until we ran into friends at the water cooler or day after. Like we can do multitasking. That's what he says. Like I can do a debating. I can listen to the debate. I can do my own home chores also. Simultaneously, things would move on. Next is social media is not a mass media. It is not a mass media. Actually, mass medias are journalism thing, but it is not a mass media. That's what they're saying. Some journalists are rather fond of criticizing the content that appears on social media sites for its supposedly amateur nature. That's what it is, not having a perfect nature. Something, some small, some unskilled person will post some matter that in amateur manner. That is all going on viral in your social media. It's certainly true that most of the content, actually, much of the content is very poor quality. Photos and videos may be poorly shot, gossip replaces fact, and writing may lack basic spelling or grammar skills. You see in Facebook, YouTube, many people would post some blabla, some rubbish thing is all posted, where truly there is a lot of smelly mistakes, a lot of grammar mistakes. That's what there is no person who is controlling all this. So that whatever that comes to their mind is being posted. So, however, the reality is that social media is not like a mass media. That is the reason it is not a mass media. Most of the contents that appear hasn't been created by media professionals for general consumption. They're not created by some experts. They're just created by amateur individuals. So the efficiency, accuracy is missing in that. So with that purpose being, but it is viewed by large audience. As our private conversations can be a very public indeed. Okay. So broadcast media such as radio and television, but also newspapers and movies term refers to a message being broadly delivered from a central place. Whatever the medium are designed to put messages out of all to see for all buyers, subscribers. Broadcast media are shaped conceptually like a megaphone amplifying a one-way message from one sender to many receivers. Communication media, from telegram to phone calls to faxes, are designed to facilitate two-way conversation. Conceptually, communication medias are like a tub. The message put into one end is intended for a particular recipient at the other end. Okay. So social media is a great way to build an audience for your journalism. It is essential for any trainee who seeks a career in TV news or a post video to YouTube and create a channel. It is though the rubbish matter is delivered there, but it is an easy way to catch up and know things, how a little in a technical side, it is a good way to post the things. They often publicize their work by posting links to their videos on Facebook, Twitter, in deliberate attempt to have it go viral, become widely shared, and generate a large online following. Okay. Next, handling hoaxes. Any information supplied on social media needs to be thoroughly checked out, as you would with any source. Ideally, you need at least two independent sources, maybe even three, to corroborate the story. In the cases below, how would you go about verifying these stories before you publish them online? A shooting on Oxford Street, London. Or example, these are all examples. In January 2011, a rumor spread via social media that a gunman was on the loose in central London. Some Twitter used claimed police had issued official warning of the incident. Panic spread, and some office workers in the area were advised by their employees to stay indoors because it was just going on with the gun. So he may just shoot whoever comes before him. So it was a hoax message. It was not correct message. It was just a rumor. It was a hoax which was based on the rumors when news of a genuine police training operations in the area became public knowledge. A tweet about a fashion photo shoot in the area added to confusion. So this some wrong news, some rumors spread will create unnecessarily confusion and will lessen the importance of the important things which are to be aired. Okay. So these are like handling of hoaxes. How they should be handled is they should first interpret whether the news, the information given to you is correct or it's a rumor. You have to cross check before airing it. Next is it's worth asking some basic questions of any user who submit content. What sort of mobile phones do you have? What, before you go to the Facebook and use all these things, first you should keep in mind all these things. What sort of a mobile phone do you have? And we are very interested in using this. Is that still okay with you? Why did you take these pictures? They look very professional. On what day did you take the photo? And where were you located? All these questions. Okay. So next is encouraging users to share news contents. If we encourage them to share the news content, example, if you see Mufasil are also there, who contribute to the newspapers, which Mufasils are the people who are segmented at the rural areas to capture the news happening around them, and they'll contribute to the newspaper. So likewise, in an online thing, if we encourage the users who are sharing some news contents, we'll get good information, and our work also gets little, we are less burdened. Okay. So it is generally believed that a lighter content tends to be shared the most on Facebook. This is because the majority of people use Facebook as a tool for keeping in contact with friends. It helps to have a sense of humor and an ability to poke fun at ourselves. People are fascinated by how the media works and usually love to hear insider gossip about what is happening in the newsroom and the stories that you are working on. This is important as it builds royally among users. Other social media sites like Twitter, LinkedIn work best for more serious news. When if you compare again social media, Facebook has all rubbish shit, and LinkedIn, Twitter are okay. LinkedIn is very professional. Twitter is like the second place, and Facebook the third. So, okay. So Pew Research Center Project for Excellence in Journalism gathered a year of data on the top news stories shared. It came to two key conclusions. First, the stories and issues that gain the most traction in social media differ substantially from those that lead in the mainstream press. The second, different types of stories led different social media. The most shared videos on YouTube were the hey, you got to see this type content videos which were funny or shocking and had strong visual appeal. However, on Twitter, the report states the mission is primarily about passing along important, often breaking information in a way that unifies or assumes shared values with the Twitter community. As I told, the efficacies or the professionality in this social media is the shape first, as I said, is a LinkedIn, then as a Twitter, then as a Facebook. So next is a nice newsman found that most shared stories for mainstream news organizations on Twitter were disasters and deaths, latest news on breaking stories, funny stories, proactive comments and analysis, and original and distinctive content. Okay. So social media is a tool for news distribution. It acts as a tool of personal recommendation and for sharing of news. We can see it as an extension, okay? Extension and concept of personalized newspaper. So social media is a wonderful research tool. It allows journalists to make connections with the communities that they write about, although we should not assume all social groups use it. So social media allows out users to feel a sense of involvement in the news gathering process. It is a good way to build loyalty to a media brand. So social media trends change very fast, and it's worth reflecting on the social sites that you use today and the devices you see to access them. It's worth carrying out a small survey of colleagues or classmates to find out what sites they use and how they are used it. Okay. So this is all about your next chapter, which says social media, its uses, and how it is helping the journalist, and how they are taking info from this social media. So social media and building online community, and how you have to build the online communities, which will help you to take new items, so which will make them interact with you like a two-way process. So participation. Okay, that is about that chapter. And next, what is the third block we are in is, it says word processing and web writing, how we have to write in a web. So web writing, word processing features. Word processing features can be defined as a process of using a computer to enter, edit, format text to the requirement of the user. All standard word processing applications like MS Word or Word Perfect come with the regular features like cursor, scrolling, word, like all the features of your computer only. Grammar checkers and all to be kept in mind, and thesaurus also, and these are associated with entering and editing documents. There are other important features like outlines, revision marks, documents compare, merge printing, footnotes, endnotes, which are also available with most of the word processing applications. Outlines, if we see first outlines, the outline line view enables us to see the sketch or all the headings associated with the document. And if a document has more than one level of heading, we can expand the outline to view different levels or collapse the levels. So outline gives us an overview of the document structure and organization, since all the headings and levels of headings are displayed in the outline view. One can move, copy, delete heading according to changed priority or requirement, and the text under these headings behaves accordingly. Next comes is the revision marks and document compare. So situations where more than one person is involved in the creation of a document are quite common in the world of journalism. So same item can be done by two or three, same message information can be captured by one or two or many journalists. So a document gets circulated among different experts, each one making his own contribution by correcting mistakes that have been made non-expert if he is a sole contributor of an article. So editing for grammatical and factual errors is inevitable before publishing a document. So one should edit them, one should correct them, one should check the for grammar mistakes or the authenticity of the news item before it is getting featured. So the revision marks feature helps in recording, circulating the opinions about what to add and what to delete in a document. Along with the document, one can insert or delete words, sentences, or format the existing text. These get displayed on the document. For example, if an existing line has to be deleted, or if a particular word has to be added, the line intended for deletions will be struck through and inserted or underlined. So some marks, somebody is vetting my thing, my work, I should know where I have to be get corrected. So he'll me, if I made some mistake, he will strike that. If I have to add something, he'll add and underline it, something like. So chosen by the individual who recommended, thus clearly indicating who intended what in the course of editing. So document compare feature compares two versions of a document and highlights the differences between the two. That's what highlighting is, underlining, and two versions is if I don't want that, I'm striking it. The necessity for comparison arises when we try to see what the latest version looked like compared to the earlier version of the document. Merge printing. Many a time we send emails addressed to a host of people or repeat certain convenience or sections of a contract repeatedly. Well, most of the times the body of the mail or other portions of the contract remains the same. In such cases, conventionally, this requires entering and editing the data for each one of the mails or contracts individually. So the merge printing feature does away with the drudgery of doing this. It automates the whole process of entering and editing. So it merges. If two copies are there, it will merge and make it as a one. So use mail merge to, like if I have to send some information to 100 people or 200 people, I need not send one by one. I can use the merger option, and with the click of button, it goes to 100 at a time. Okay, that is use mail merger to create and print letters. On the tools menu, point to letters, mailing, and these are all. So under select document type, click letters. The active document becomes the main document. Click next, starting document. Tips. These are all general and small things, like how I have to write, like before writing, what things are to be kept in mind, and how I should use or operate this computer is all in this. How? Okay. It's all about the same thing. So you just go through it. And next is the footnotes and endnotes. You should keep in mind of what is footnotes and endnotes is a term used to describe additional information found at the bottom of the outline is overall picture. Footnote and endnote is what is given in the bottom of the page. A term used to describe the additional information found at the bottom of the page or the document. Often a footnote will contain the source of the information, additional information, or a comment about the text contained in the document. So it just gives you a summary sort of thing. You can have it in mind. So the purpose of a footnote is to ensure that the flow of the narrative, but at the same time help the reader to gain additional information. So much like a footnote and endnote gives additional information, but it is printed at the end of the document. So to insert a footnote or endnote in a Microsoft Word, follow the steps. Click footnote and write something and add to it. Okay. Next is desktop publishing for print. How should I print? My thing should be published in a print media. The process where the desktop computer that utilizes a specialized software and high resolution printer is employed or used to layout pages, add graphics, assemble designs, and produce commercial quality printed material is called a desktop publishing. So what is desktop publishing is? Desktop computer that utilizes specialized software. It will have a specialized software where high resolution printer is employed, used a layout pages. It gives you a layout of the page and it adds the graphics. It assembles the news. It gives a design and produce a commercial quality printed material. So DTP, that is called desktop publishing. Desktop publishing used extensively in the preparation of reports, mailers, newsletters, brochures, and other documents in color with distinct page layout, graphic image, different fonts, special characters, columns, tables of contents, and indexes. Next are the columns. When creating newsletters, we want to print the text in two or more columns so that text flows from one column to the next. So we can create such columns using the DTP applications and fill the columns one after the other with the required text. Adding or deleting the text or graphics is one column, makes the text adjust itself within the columns, thus giving a professional look as it has been done by a skilled designer or a compositor. So this desktop publishing will help us to keep in shape the report, like the outlines and all framework, their designs, it gives us all. So in that column only we should fit the info. Page layouts is also related to that. Graphic images. Graphic images are eye catchers for all of us. So which will be taken with the help of our desktop publishing. Special characters also we can add. Special characters are the ones which do not see on the keyboard. For example, foreign currency symbols, that is dollar symbol or a dollar symbol or such symbols associated with chemical and metals. Like if I say sulfur, yes, all such are called as special characters. Table of content and indexes. So long documents with many topics and sections need a table of contents which lists headings of subjects in the documents and provide page numbers right across each of the heading and subheading so that readers can quickly reach the topic of their choice. Indexes are also serve the same purpose. So to avoid confusion, to avoid the reader to just go through in a lurch, they will index it properly, means item by item, by giving a numbering, by giving some headings and all stuff. Next is identify the text that you want to appear in the table of the ad. What you want to give in that table of the contents, you have to identify first. In a document, click within the first major heading that you want to appear in the table of content. Apply the heading, a style, paragraph. This is all, see, if one is well versed with the computer, they can use these things. So there's nothing to be told in this, just header, footer, or technical things. So I told. So DTP versus word processing. What is the difference between these two? Desktop publishing programs were introduced because until very recently, word processing programs were better at editing than formatting. However, many desktop publishing features have been incorporated into word processing programs and are in some ways similar, and it may not be obvious which one to choose to produce a document. Both are same. So word processing or DTP, using that the special software for giving information or for texting the message. But in one point of time, both are ideal with text and which can be formatted, font size, color, bold, italics, etc. Both can contain pictures in tables. Microsoft Word and publishers have similar features such as clip art, word art, color, schemes, and text analysis, text styles. The main difference is that desktop publisher documents are easier to lay out because it is all already fragmented, and it is all programmed. So are better for creating and laying out sophisticated documents such as forms, newsletters, manuals, charts, brochures, letterheads, logos, catalogs, reports, even books. Desktop publishing, the layout is important, and the text may in more than one place, unlike in the word processing software, where the emphasis is on having the text. But in word processing, the more emphasis is on words, so catchy words, how properly they are framed, how they are edited are very important in word processing. But unlike your desktop publishing, which will be for in desktop publishing, more catchy is your graphic figures. Other difference is when we start a new word processing document, we see a blank page onto which we can type. But whereas when we start with a new publisher document, we see a blank page and must add a text frame where we have to write. If we want to write something, we should add the text frame, then only write something in DTP, which is not there, which is not with the word processing documents. We can also have a picture frames, clip art frames. It's all defined, like you have to type text here, you have to put a graphic here. They're all defined in a DTP, which is not so in web. So this is the basic difference. In this chapter, we have gone through a web, the DTP, desktop publishing document versus word processing is the main thing in this chapter. And if you move on to, sir, is everybody there? Can I continue with some one more chapter, or should we get it tomorrow? Should we continue tomorrow? Hello, Satish Garu. Hello. 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 Hello.